Imagine 50 times a day, your A+ prospects are 2 clicks away from starting a conversation with you.
What is something that you see all of the LinkedIn experts telling people to do that you think is really bad advice? Or what's something that you see everybody trying to do on LinkedIn that you would tell them to stop doing?
Yeah, this allows me to sort of bridge it together, because when you ask me what to do, I kind of, for both things, started out with what not to do. And so I mentioned that a little bit already, but there's another key element to my process that I haven't been able to share. And so this is going to bridge the two back together, or the three of them together. So obviously it's important to have a good looking profile. Targeting is, honestly, there's plenty of good YouTube videos on targeting. Like, you can watch mine or you can watch someone else's. Most of them are pretty good. The third part, though, is for most people, okay, they connect with you. Now spam them with this message sequence, right? Well, I already told you guys, how to message people. I call it stand outreach, by the way, outreach that stands out. But that's actually step 4. There's a third step. And so most people don't really do a good job of warming up someone, making them familiar with you before you ever reach out to them. And again, a lot of my prospects or a lot of my clients, they are in a position where they want to present themselves as an authority to the person that they're prospecting. And so how they come across is very important to them. And if the first time that their prospect has ever seen them is when they are showing up in their inbox asking for a meeting, then they know that they're going to look more like a vendor and they're going to have a lower response rate. So what we help our clients do, and we teach people to do, is find ways to get people to show to see you before you ever show up in their inbox. And most people think that's posting content. And it can be. I think posting content's a great thing. We have someone on our team that his job is to get us to show up all over the place when it comes to posting content, follows me around with the camera and stuff. So we do prioritize it. But something you have to know on LinkedIn is that, let's say like this, there are therapists that help people with their addiction to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I don't know of any therapists helping people with their addiction to LinkedIn, right? It's not a platform that is like, if you guys have seen what's the Social Dilemma, the documentary, they don't really talk much about LinkedIn. They put the logo on there at one point because you kind of have to. It's a big platform, but it's not an addicting platform. So people aren't like scrolling through the timeline for hours,
right,
and looking at content. So in order for me to show up to my prospects, I realized that the average LinkedIn user is jumping on LinkedIn a few times a week, checking their notifications, and then jumping off. So where do we want to show up? We want to show up in their notifications. Well, then the next question is, what are all the things I can do to show up in my prospects' notifications, right?
That's
and
a great question.
There's a list, right? And so I look at notifications as like ads. It's like free ads. So a big one is liking people's posts. A mutual friend of Steve and I is Nicholas Baerle. If I ever owe Nicholas a text or a message, I know that he's going to go to my Facebook and he's going to like my last 10 posts in a row. And I check my notifications. There's 10 of them. And it's all Nicholas, right? He just bought essentially a ton of ad space in my note in the most addicting area of social media. He just took up the whole ad space, right? That's how you got to view this. So you can like the person's post. You can comment on their post. Imagine this. Imagine if you had dialogue in your prospects' comments on their post before you ever sent them a message. Like they post like, here's how you do the ABCs. And then you comment on it. You're like, hey, like, this is really good content. Thanks for sharing. How did you find this information, Justin? And then you ask them a question. You guys go back and forth in the comments. And then someday you show up shortly thereafter, you show up in their messages. There's of all the sea of people that are spamming them, it's like, oh yeah, it's that Jimmy guy that I was going back and forth with a few days ago. You're going to stand out, right? The other thing you can do is endorsing people. So I love the endorsing tool so much, because you can target people on LinkedIn. You can make sure that every person that you're sending connection requests to is the CEO of a company with no less than 1,000, 5,000, even 10,000 plus employees. And you can really get micro targeted on there just by paying $80 a month for Sales Navigator.
Sales
So
Navigator is great.
100%. And so we can get super targeted, and we can endorse 50 of those people every day. Let's just choose a number 50. That's a good number. Well, we endorse 50 of those people every day, and we go to their profile, click the plus sign. Well, you're going to show up in their notifications. It's going to say Jimmy Coleman. It's going to be my picture. It's going to say Jimmy Coleman, endorse you for leadership and 2 other skills. Under that, it's going to have a call to action button. And oftentimes people click that call to action button. It says, say thanks. They click the button, and LinkedIn does this intentionally where it's going to auto-populate a message inbox, and it's going to say, thanks for endorsing me for leadership. And all your prospect has to do is click send. So imagine 50 times a day, your A-plus prospects are 2 clicks away from starting a conversation with you.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, man. So like I figured that part out. I started doing like the happy birthday messages because you get notified everyone's birthday every day, job change, work anniversary, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I started doing all these things, and I would wake up every day and I'd have like, 10, 12, 20, sometimes more people saying thank you to me, who were my A-plus prospects, people I was banging my head up against the wall before I had the stand outreach process, trying to figure out a way to get a conversation going with them. And there they were starting the conversation with me. And now that they said thank you, I can just be like, yeah, sure thing, Josh. By the way, I saw that you're in the blank industry. And now we have a back and forth, and it's normal for me to keep the conversation going. It's actually more weird if I don't respond to their message to me.
Right. That's awesome. I mean, that's like, you're basically getting an inbound message and they're saying thank you. And they're like, oh, that was nice. And then you hit them back and you say, oh, we're in the same industry, or we're doing this,
Right.
and they're like,
Make it
oh,
conversational. Yeah.
It's like networking. It's like being at a networking party and like being at the same bar or being at the same table, or
dude, we're wearing the same shirt. Like you just found like an open door opportunity to now engage with each other. Now it's normal for you guys to talk.
Man, that is really, really good advice. So if you guys are out there listening to this right now and you're like picking up on some of this stuff, go implement it. Now what Jimmy's service does, Lead Baller does all of this automated, correct?
Yeah. We help people set up their target list. We with send the connection request for them. That's why we call Lead Baller, because we organize it like a baseball field. When someone agrees to connect with you, they're at bat. When, let's say, we endorse them for a skill, now they're on first base. When we like a few of their posts, now they're on second base. When we comment on a post, now they're on third base. And we don't reach out to anyone until they're on third base. And we measure how warmed up they are before we ever reach out to them. When we reach out to them, again, right now we're the only company in the world sending audio messages at scale. So the client in their onboarding process creates whatever audio message they want to say to someone that's on third base one time, and then we just send it to every person that's on third base for them. So the nut that we cracked is when people are selling things that their average deal size is $50,000, $500,000, or $1 million or something like that. Usually to get the attention of those people, the outreach has to be extremely personalized, which usually means very labor intensive, not scalable at all. You have to send them a cake with their name on it, or, send them shoes or whatever. But we found a way to send messages that stand out, have outreach that stands out from what everyone else is doing, but be able to do it at scale so that they can focus on other things. So we would call it a sales enablement tool.
I love it.
Service. Yeah.